himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so New off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's allowed to have fun. Yeah,
it's all about the entertainment. So I hope
everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it?
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Hello and welcome back to the Radical Race Series for Season 3 in 2023, and for the first time in either a very long time or indeed ever, we're going to the Knockhill Racing Circuit up in Scotland here in this championship. It's round 3 of our season, and instead of heading to the north side, as we seem to do every single season, we're going to a completely new circuit entirely here, just over 2 kilometres around here, rises and falls all throughout. Big challenge as well for all of the drivers in a slightly reduced field to what we've seen at some points throughout the seasons. However, it's a small circuit where smaller grids will feel like a lot of action either way. My name is Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside James Parfitt for the evening once again, and it's great to be here at Knockhill. A new circuit, I would say. I don't think I've ever commentated around here. I don't know if you have, James, but I like watching races around here. See how these cars get on though.
Yeah, I've watched a few. Normally TCRs I see around here, to be honest. I don't normally see, well, radicals around this 2 mile circuit. Oh, this one, well, it's less than that. It's 1.2 miles circuit, and with only 9 turns on track, it's going to be an exciting one. Lap times are 44 seconds. These guys are going to feel very dizzy because we've got a 20 lap sprint and a 33 lap feature. And just to top it all off, they've got 6 laps in qualifying this evening as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think it's interesting to know about this circuit. You know, believe it or not, Knockhill's been around this particular layout since 1974 to the present day now as well. Now, we do know that this circuit gets run in reverse as it does the clockwise and anti-clockwise sort of circuit. Lucky enough, we're going clockwise this evening. But I've got a funny feeling there's certain parts of this circuit, even though it's not many corners, we're only looking at 9. Turn 5 and 6, I believe, is going to be very interesting for these gentlemen in these cars. Partly because of the fact of the way that it goes here, Ewan, as well. We can have a look now at it. That's the corner we were talking about, and it's a very tricky corner.
Yeah, they all are. This circuit built on a hill, multiple hills, in fact, it seems, because every corner has got a rise or a fall within it. Turn 8, for example, this is the final turn. It's a big plunge uphill, very steep as well. Turn 1, 2, this is where Seth Brown is at the moment, turns 1, 2 and 3. This is a plunge downhill, and then you dip into a small little... valley is a bit extreme, but it's a little dip there. And then you plunge uphill up the chicane, and it's uphill again towards this... turn 6 as it is, Clark, and then you go along towards the final turn, turn 8. Turn 7 is not really a corner, it's just the bend to the left there, and then you get the final corner as well. 44 second lap times around here. There are some ovals in the NASCAR schedule that run for longer than that. It's a real short one here, and we've got 33 laps for a feature race. It's not going to go on for as long as you might think, based on that. It's going to be quite a short one, in fact. It's going to be, just around 25 minutes, as it usually is, in fact. But it's going to be, we're kind of breaking all the rules to get this race to happen. And it's absolutely fantastic, because a new circuit on the schedule is absolutely fine by us. Let's take a look at the championship standings coming into today, then, shall we? Because it is round 2 in the championship. This starts to mean a little bit more, to be honest. Simon Edwards took the championship lead at the previous round of Spa after a good outing. John McCutcheon now second, with Mike Bousson few points back now in third. Seth Brown vaulted up to fourth in the last race, with Jamie Bird making up places as well. Damien G hanging around the top 5, but he's sixth now, tied with Wayne Palmer. Michael LeMay is 8th, with David Royston and Paul Godden joining them inside the top 10. Paul LeMay is 11th, and Luke Maxwell is tied on points with him. However, they've only been to one round so far this season, so they'll be sorted out a little bit later. We've also got Darrell Taylor and Robert Woodward on that same amount of points there as well. Colin Wins in 15th, ahead of Phil Glover. Then we've got Phil Justin in 17th, Sergio De La Cruz in the 18th position, and a few more to come as well. Martina Ward 19th, ahead of James Child and Graham Brown, the only drivers to score points. Of course, Chris Max Davis as well, who has scored a few points, and David Beasley, who appeared at one round and only one of the races of that one round as well, which was somewhat bizarre. That's how he's only on 3 points. It's very early in the championship. Of course, drop rounds aren't applied yet. It'd be ludicrous because there are 3 drop rounds. We've only done 2 rounds, so everyone's on 0 technically. But that's to worry about for another day. For now, it's to worry about Knockhill, and in fact, the next few circuits, to be honest, because they're all in this similar kind of vein. Big driving challenge with not much runoff. You got this one, then Alton Park, which we've had a lot of fun at in the last couple of seasons. Laguna Seca, which also has no runoff at all. And Jerez, which is similarly twisty, a little bit more like a Grand Prix circuit, but even so, not much runoff around there either. These next 4 tracks really do have a very similar character to them.
Yeah, they definitely do. And I think from the driver's point of view, it's going to be interesting. The interesting thing about this as well is the fact that they put a vote out and said, which track would you like? You know, which track do you want to go to? And Knockhill won. Now, Nords was on there as I partitioned for Tsukuba GP Full. Unfortunately, nobody liked the idea of that one. And I don't believe you do either, Ewan. You keep telling me it's a terrible track. But as we go on, you know, Knockhill should be an exciting one. Paul LeMay, Ewan Bramer and Darrell Taylor welcome in. But as you say, we've got to the likes of Alton Park with no chicanes, Laguna and Jerez. And they're all different types of circuits, and they're all going to provide challenges like Knockhill is. This is the thing. I think as much as I would have loved a different track, I think this one is probably most suited to what they've got coming up. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how some of the drivers handle this compared to going into the likes of later on courses, Sebring, Road Atlanta, Mount Panorama, Interlagos and Canadian Tire Motorsport as well. So I suppose Motorsport you could put into this kind of short track kind of area. But I think Knockhill's going to provide its challenges. It may only have 9 corners, but I think it's still going to give us great racing, and with what we got 17 cars, I think it is as well. There's a lot involved for these guys, so it's going to be who's going to be able to keep it on track, who's going to go round 1 and 2 without binning it, who's going to get 3, 5 and 6 without ending up on the gravel on the outside, and who's going to make the last corner without going too wide and punting each other off. So all in all, challenges all the way around the circuit, to be fair.
Yep, absolutely everywhere. We're looking forward to it. First lap times will be coming over then now, and it's Simon Edwards who is fastest. There he goes to the front. BC briefly set the mark, but it's Edwards now. Seth Brown over the line with a decent time there into second. He was purple in the final sector. Only 3 sectors around here, such as the short nature of the circuit, but 15 seconds within each. It's still very short and gives a very zoomed in view as to what each driver is doing in each sector. It's going to be a very frantic session though, because as you said, there's 6 laps. That was Adcock going off the road. Colin Wynne has been off slightly as well, but I think that was just a running wide. Oh, well, it was more than that. It was a spin indeed. This is a difficult circuit to get to grips with.
Yeah, it's a good job they got 6 laps. George Gonzaga just gone over the line in second place as well. We've got Graham Brown. Simon Edwards is going purple again as he's coming over the line now. 44.689 with McHutchison, 45 as well. He's in third now. Seth Brown's just gone quicker again. But it was kind of John McHutchison who really petitioned for this track. He mentioned it, and people seem to like the idea, which I think was even a shock for him, because he even voted for Nords, which was even more bizarre.
Well, he kind of tentatively put it forward, almost as a slight joke, but everyone else was like, oh, that's actually quite a good idea. And so he thought, well, yeah, I will go through with this now fully, and everyone did. And so we're here now. And I'm personally not too disappointed at all to get a new track on the schedule. Certainly in the year or so that I've been covering this series, we haven't been to Knockhill before. So, although I do have a bad issue of forgetting stuff, so maybe we have, but pretty sure we haven't. Simon Edwards will come over the line again, and once again he's going quicker. We're still, even with a short lap here, we're still having that phenomenon of drivers just getting faster and faster and faster as the session goes on, but Mike Bousson not going faster on this lap. He's straight on into the gravel.
Yeah, I think Damien G's had a bit of a moment as well back there. You just see him. I'm wondering if that may have had... He's coming around the corner now, so has he got onto the gas a little bit too early? Yep, and unfortunately... big puff of smoke for Damien G, and he's gone round as well. But overall, I think it's going to be... I think this is going to be really exciting. I think this could be probably near on one of the most exciting ones we've had. We've got Paul Crabb here as well, so this is going to be great for him because he's here and joining in once more. So I think this could turn out to be a very good choice of circuit. I think we could be in for a classic.
He certainly could. John McHutchison's gone to the front then. He has the best time at the moment. Darryl Taylor with a couple of personal best sectors right now is getting him up the order. You'd imagine it will be 11th place over the line for him. John McHutchison, though, will be over the line next of those two who we think are going to challenge for pole here. It will be him versus Simon Edwards, but it's McHutchison going wide on this lap. I think he's coming out of for the completion of his 5th lap now, and I think the next one will be his last. Simon Edwards is still going for this, and I think he might well be able to at least challenge McHutchison here. He'll come over the line. It's slightly faster, but it's not enough. Now just one more lap, I believe, maybe 2, but I think it's one more for these two, and surely it is going to be McHutchison versus Edwards again.
Yeah, I think McHutchison is actually a lap behind here. I think Edwards is on his final. Oh, God, he's thrown it through. I think Edwards is on his final, and McHutchison's got one more after the one he's on now. So this is one and one more for McHutchison, and Edwards is finished after this one. We've still got 4.5 minutes. It's amazing the fact that they've got, 10 minutes to qualify, and they've done 6 laps, and we've still got 4 minutes to go.
Absolutely, it's very, very bizarre. You can see why we extended it to 6 laps, can't you? Doubled it to 6 laps. McHutchison does go quicker, in fact. Purple lap from McHutchison, and he's still... I think that's the end of his session. Edwards wasn't able to go any quicker there, and that might well be the end of his as well. He's not going as quick as you can see, but it doesn't really matter because John McHutchison went faster anyway, and on home turf, it looks like he will be taking pole position.
Yeah, I've got... Oh, Eric Brawley going off there as well. New one into the series this evening. I've got Hutch as 1 lap short here. I'm not going to lie. I think he had 1 lap that he wasn't either not aware of or I don't know. Either way, the beginning was he was going very slow, so it ain't going to make no difference here, and it's not going to really improve. So there we go. Jamie Bird is down in 16th. We'll see much of Jamie. He's on. Well, I've got him as 1 and 1 more here as well to go, and he's setting greens across the board currently at the moment here as well. So personal best for Jamie Bird. So good job.
Yeah, it's a little bit further down than what we'd expect to see from him actually. To be a whole second behind the driver in front of him. It's a real long way away, and he doesn't improve there. As you say, he might well have another chance here, another lap, but as you can see, pretty much everybody's done in this section with just over 3 minutes to go. I think JB Bird is one of the only drivers who still has anything left to do in this session. He'll clamber over the curbs at the top of the hill, the chicane there. Try and straight line as much as possible. Those red sausage curbs needed very much to keep you within the track boundaries without taking a trip across the grass. And now Bird will plunge towards the final corner. It's a gentle downhill before a plunge uphill again. You see how steep it looks on a camera. Just imagine if you were there in real life. It's almost like walking up a staircase or a steep slope. I don't know. But over the line goes JB Bird. He is not going to improve. I thought he was, actually. He might have gotten off track somewhere around, but he doesn't jump up the order any. And it's a disappointing 16th for him.
Yeah, the thing is, where you're right, okay, I think earlier on when you mentioned about the fact I don't think we've ever been here. Now, I can't remember ever coming here. I can't remember ever seeing the Radicals in officials here, regardless if it's SR8 or SR10. And I think is possibly the first time these cars have ever been on this circuit. So overall, I think you might be right. But, yeah, to be down in 16th for Jamie Bird, though, I think he's going to wait. Right. Yeah, I think he's going to have to wait and see what happens in front of him, I think. But there we go. Good evening, Colin Wynn and Phil, as always, in YouTube. I love the fact that Colin calls us something every week. He's called us girlfriends this week. He's put evening girlfriends.
Nice.
I think we were ladies last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember, to be honest. I cannot remember.
God blimey, what have you got? A goldfish memory or something? It's like 3 seconds, bowl.
Yeah, it's really bad. I don't know how to fix it, to be honest. But anyway, that's
write things down, mate.
For another. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Yeah, but that's pretty much it for qualifying. We could have given them 9 laps, to be honest, and it still would have been a complete well before the end of the 10 minutes. But either way, 6 laps is plenty, and it might have allowed them to push a little bit harder during that session and fear mistakes less. Because you do really need those 3 laps at a normal circuit, but you don't really need to be fast on all 6 of them around here. So that might have just changed their approach. But in the end, I don't think it's changed too much because looking at the order up and down here, there aren't many people out of position compared to what we'd expect. I mean, George Gonzaga's done really well to get up into 3rd place. That's a good qualifying from him. And Mike Bousson is quite far down in 8th place. You might have expected him to qualify a bit better.
Yeah, I think there's a few people that you would expect to be a little bit further up. Mike being one of them as well. It's so bizarre with Mike, but he keeps blaming JPB. He keeps saying since we've taken over and started doing the broadcast, he's not won yet, which I don't like the idea of that. I prefer it's just like it's almost like that commentator's curse, but we're giving him a complete curse. But I don't know, to see him down in 8th is a bit of a surprise. Colin Wynn, maybe he's coming back from injuries, so maybe we thought we might have seen him do a bit better. Damien G maybe was another one we might have seen up within that field as well. But, it is what it is, and there's a grid.
So let's see the first race at Knockhill then, and the starting grid before it. It's John McCutcheon on home turf who will take the pole position, ahead of Simon Edwards, George Gonzaga and Seth Brown just behind. James Child and Paul Crabb are on row 3, ahead of David Beasley and Mike Bousson. Darryl Taylor and Colin Wynn round out the top 10. Graham Brown and Paul Godden are on row 6 to be 11th and 12th. And then it is Damien G and Phil Glover. Eric Brawley, a new driver, is alongside Jamie Bird in 16th. And Tim Adcock brings up the rear. We don't believe we've seen Brawley or Adcock ever, actually. We believe they're making their debuts in the Radical Race Series here this evening, and what a debut to make as well. McCutcheon will be one of the latest to grid up here and will get the lights on very soon and get themselves underway for, get this, a 20-lap race. We've never seen a sprint race of such distance before. The longest sprint race over the course of the rest of the season is just 12 laps at Mosport at the very, very end. This is going to be a race like no other, an evening like no other, at a track like no other, up in the north of the UK, in Scotland. And it is certainly unique. There's no wondering where you are as soon as you get here. You know exactly where you are and you know exactly what's ahead of you. It's going to be a difficult race for everybody. John McCutcheon makes everybody wait, almost as if he's toying with them slightly, and his presence on the grid now triggers the light sequence to begin. Lights will come on now, and we'll be underway, racing for the first time at Knockhill in the Radical Race Series. We are racing, and John McCutcheon has got off to a good start. Simon Edwards not so much, and it's allowed Gonzaga to get alongside him into turn 1, but he'll just lift off in towards the first corner, and that will allow our top 4 or 5 to be single file. Mike Booson's made up a couple of places. There's a few incidents in the background though. David Beasley off in the gravel at turn 2.
Yeah, Beasley went off there as well. Not entirely sure what happened to him. We'll get this. I'll have a look back after these guys come round turn 7 at Clark on the run round here. This is this fabulous corner that's got really no number, but it is a slight kink to the left. It is a turn 8, but at the moment, McCutcheon is out in front and absolutely flying here as well. Jamie Bird is running, trying to get up alongside Graham Brown further back as well. He does. He nips up the inside, and Jamie Bird, believe it or not, has gained up 6 places, and we've only just done a lap.
Yeah, 6 positions in 1 lap, fantastic. 6 positions in less than a minute from Jamie Bird. Really fantastic opening from him. Darryl Taylor and David Beasley have both been off though, I'm afraid to say, and Paul Crabb had a huge slide down the hill at turn 1 though. He saved it, although he's brought himself under a lot of pressure now from Mike Booson and James Child, who are right behind him over the top of the hill there at the chicane. Booson won't have a look in towards turn 6, the braking zone nowhere near long enough. Crabb goes a bit wide again, although Booson was quite conservative, and George Gonzaga has gone off. Where on earth is he? He's off to the side of the road somewhere. He must have spun at turn 6.
Yeah, he's at the back. He went off at turn 9 at the end. Turn 6, sorry, down in Clark, I think he went off. And now he's dropped all the way down the order, down into 14th currently. This is what happened to him. I got a funny feeling he's just hit the curb on the outside as he comes round. And there we go. And off he goes, unfortunately for Gonzaga.
The wall as well. It was kind of through the middle of the corner, really. He didn't seem to clip any curves from that angle, although he may have done, but he seemed to be all right. Unfortunately, just lost the car entirely. Mike Booson's going to get through as a result of a Paul Crabb mistake. Think he went wide on the exit of the chicane, and that has allowed Mike Booson up to 4th place. He's halved his grid position in 2.5 laps. A brilliant start from the driver, 3rd placed in this championship after the opening couple of rounds.
Yeah, he is. He's gone wide though. That's nearly allowed Crabb through. Crabb checks up and Child comes into play in the background. Colin Wynn is still putting it in there. He's up 3 as well. Currently at the moment sitting in 7th place. Hutchinson just does the fastest lap of the race on a 44.81. So a stellar drive from him. But even further down with Damien G here, he's battling on Gonzaga and trying to get the inside of Glover at the moment. Glover's taken that line through turn 1. We've plunged down the hill once more. And this is where we're going to be looking at going through turn 5 and 6 here. This is the point. You kind of is blind, so you just kind of point the car, go over the first curb and hope for the best. And Glover literally rocketed up into the air there. He did an absolutely stellar job holding that car on track, but Paul Crabb is being chased down by Colin Wynn now.
Certainly is, and it's close in towards turn 8 at the very end of the lap, the hairpin that you on to the front straight all over again. We're almost a quarter way through, by the way, already. I said it's 20 laps, but 45-second laps, less than that, in fact, around this wonderful racetrack that we're playing with here this evening. It's George Gonzaga who we'll be focusing on here, though, because he needs to make up some positions after his start that saw him off the road at turn 6. It's a bit wayward from Damien G down the hill. Once you get offline for turn 1, you really shot yourself in the foot for turn 2 and turn 3 as well. That's allowed Gonzaga to close up in this fight for 12.
Yeah, at the moment he's closed up to the back of Damien G with Darryl Taylor somewhere trying to get onto the back of him as well. Taylor had a bit of an off track. Godon's under attack by the ever looming fast running Jamie Bird at the moment. It just goes around the outside of 9. An incredible job by Jamie Bird. He's now chasing down Colin Wynn. So qualifying isn't clearly reflective of Bird's pace at the moment, because he is absolutely flying and up 8 places. James Child, I got a funny bit of Booson.
Yeah, Booson's off. It's down at turn 3 on the entrance, so he must have lost it halfway round 2 or gotten hit or something, because you don't end up there on your own generally all at turn 3. Wow, he has done. That's remarkable. I've never seen that before. But just as he came off of turn 2, he was a little bit out of shape, and as he tried to hit the brakes for free, he went off the road. All my predictions fell apart there. That was unfortunate for Matt Booson more so, though, because he's down in 15th place now, and this is going to be a characteristic of these races now. While we may think there's a designated order. We might think we've got everybody where they're supposed to be, but the opportunities to make mistakes around here are just endless.
Yeah, they definitely are. Damien G is sitting in pole for the reverse, don't forget. We've still got the reverse grid. That's going to make it even more exciting. Gonzaga's side by side with G. Phil Glover's in there. Daryl Taylor's in there. Them 4 battling it out as well. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention we've got a top 10 reverse for the feature, just to let you know. So a 33 lap feature with a top 10 reverse, looking at McCutcheon and Edwards coming through the field. I can't think of anything more exciting, apart from Daryl Taylor having a go at Phil Glover here as well on that run through turn 8 into the final corner at the moment. So all in all, it's all going off throughout the field, and people battling through 7 and 8th and 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th, and Taylor has just gone past Glover. G managed to hold on from Gonzaga though.
And it's a cutback actually from Glover just in the background, and side by side, these two really close up in the foreground. Gonzaga will go down the inside of Damien G, and that will be a nice pass into turn 1. It will continue. I thought G was going to slide straight into Gonzaga there, but fortunately he didn't. And they've got themselves sorted out, which is great news. There you can see a better view actually of the curb up the chicane there. It's really been reduced in its challenge of an actual corner, but in terms of flinging your car over there, the challenge very much still remains. A new fastest lap of this race overall for John McCutcheon as he pulls to 9/10 ahead of Simon Edwards, and you can just see the amount of gap that they have over those behind. About half a lap in front. You can be sure that in the feature race there may well be lap traffic over the course. In fact, Adcock is 2/3 of a lap down in only 9 laps.
Yeah, he is. He's down in 14th. The leaders are coming up through 8, what they class as a corner, which is 8 and 9, and Adcock's going down the start-finish line. So he's got another 11 laps yet, and at the moment he is doing lap times at 47s, and the leaders are doing 44s. So I've got a funny feeling Mr. Adcock is going to experience his first process of being in the race, and then his first process of dealing with very fast people behind him. And yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he could get lapped. So unfortunately for Mr. Adcock, it's going to be a bit of a mission. David Beasley has been off, and unfortunately had an off. David, of course, I think he pretty much did that in the first lap. Probably not running just as far there as well, and I got a fairly feeling that was obviously Buson going into the pit lane as well. So
no. It was Buson recovering from his spin. If you remember earlier on,
yes,
his spin. It was him recovering from his spin earlier on. Although I do believe he has been in the pits as well. I don't know. Oh, he did hit the wall with the front end, I suppose, didn't he? So maybe he got damage from that, but a lap down, and that's going to mean Buson's almost certainly not going to benefit from a reverse grid even at this stage. But look at the challenge of this circuit. James Child now up to 3rd place, by the way, with a nice cutback pass on Seth Brown at the final turn. But we're halfway through this race now. Adcock has lost about 5 seconds in the last 2 laps. He's going to be lapped even in this short race, and some of the others are going to be as well, partly because of the battles that are on at the moment. From Graham Brown down to Daryl Taylor, there's 4 cars separated by 2 or 3 seconds there.
Yeah, there is. And the thing is that what I find quite exciting is the fact that obviously there's still people battling away on track regardless of where their position is. You know, the likes of Colin Wynn, he's got half a second to Paul Godden. Jet Bird's in that little bit of a moment where he's got 2 seconds, you know, gap kind of way either way. So he's looking to close down in front, but he's now trying to get up to the back of Crab. And at the moment for Bird, he's absolutely flying. And then further down the order, you've got this battle going on here with Brown, Gonzaga, G and Taylor. So nobody's without a fight. My only interesting thing about this as well is if they start getting caught and they've got 8 laps to do it, a little bit more unrealistic for these guys, I think, but for the likes of Adcock and Glover, I think it's a real possibility that they could end up being lapped. And then how's that going to affect the leaders as well? Because we know backmarkers come into play anyway, and on this short track, where are they going to go?
Oh my word, that was a real stack up as Damien G almost got into the back of Gonzaga, and then Taylor nearly got into the back of G as everybody tried to sort themselves out under all of the pressure there. Side by side towards turn 6 very nearly. Taylor looked down the inside, didn't go for it though, and that was probably the smart choice. Another fastest lap of the race overall from Simon Edwards as the fuel load comes down. These drivers continue to get faster in this remarkable circuit that just keeps delivering lap after lap after lap. Around 2/3 of the way through now. John McCutcheon still leads, but still under pressure at the front.
Yeah, he's got about a second gap. I want to take a lap with McCutcheon because he's clearly, he either loves Knockhill because it's his home circuit, or he likes Knockhill because he's been out practicing this week and he's doing an absolutely stellar job, I'm not going to lie. You know, out in front by a second and flying. So let's have a look and see. You can see how he handles his car. He grabs it by the ball and really, like, doesn't let it go. At certain moments where you look at other drivers, they're all a little bit flimsy and a little bit loose, but he seems to have real control over what he's doing in this car. That's Adcock in front of us, so as much as we said Adcock wasn't going to be caught, I got a funny feeling he is going to be lapped there, but McHutchinson just looks smooth compared to when you look at other people. They're fighting with the car, the steering wheel's going mental, but McHutchinson looks quite smooth with it.
Does, and that's the way you have to be in this car anywhere, and you have to drive this circuit like that as well. The battle for 10th place still going on. I thought George Gonzaga would get through pretty quickly and pretty well actually, but he's not been able to get away from Darrell Taylor and Damien G, who have swapped places. Taylor now having overtaken G in the last couple of moments, and just behind them I think is David Beasley, who is 3 laps down on Mike Booth and must have been in the pit lane for damage. And Beasley unfortunately is having his difficult start to the season continuing right now. He has only scored 1 finish on the entire season so far. It was an 18th in a race 1, which has seen him so far down the standings, and unfortunately his luck isn't exactly improving. Unfortunately, Brawley is already out of this first race. He'll be bringing up the rear for race 2 if indeed he does take the start, but this battle for 10th is very, very important. We know Gonzaga has the pace, however he needs to stay here to get that pole position in race 2. Yeah, he does, and I think if he can get that pole position, he's in with an excellent chance in the feature, because I think even though he's doing the lap times of 45.2s, the leaders are on 44.3s, there's still 9 other cars before they get to him, so you know they've got to battle away a little bit here. But what you really don't want to happen in the feature is everybody go, whoa, we're not getting involved, off you go John, off you go Simon, you know, give it a go, because you never know what would happen in a race. McHutchinson might make a mistake, Edwards might make a mistake, as we've seen. So you know, I just want, if it is Gonzaga on pole position, go for it. You know what I mean? Just absolutely go for it and see where you end up, because I think that's going to be the best way of handling a 33-lap feature. It certainly is, and we're very much looking forward to it. Not too far away now indeed as well, as this sprint race comes to an end. It kind of doesn't feel like it because of the amount of laps, but it really is. It's a less than 10-minute race. Less than 10 minute, wow. Less than 20-minute race, and so, you know, around 15 minutes or so. And it's very, very short in distance, but at the moment it's still John Taylor. He was challenging for 10th place, the all-important 10th place. George Gonzaga should be able to get away with that now. Damien G gains a place and Darrell Taylor's down to 12th. Oh, that's just an absolute guttering moment for Taylor there. And you know, I was sitting here thinking about that, right? That one space is worth 10 spots on the grid. The irony when you say that is about the fact that if you qualify 10th, you go to pole. And if you qualify 11th, you stay. If you finish in 11th, you stay in 11th. 10 spots. That's how valuable that 10th place is to you as a driver. And from Darrell Taylor, what he's just done, he's going to be in that car kicking himself now, because he's going to be, well, he's going to be 12 spots away from Gonzaga, who will be sitting on pole position. So vital, that one spot in the race, and it's gone for Taylor now. That's it. He's going to end up in 12th place. Incredible. Oh, really took me by surprise as well, I've got to say. Thought Taylor was doing well. He was under control, but clearly it wasn't down at the final turn. Not long to go now, and Jamie Bird is looking for a top 5. He started 16th in this race, and we've very rarely seen a driver climb up the order in a way that he has. But with 2 laps to go, he's got a chance to gain 11 in a single race. Yeah, that would be absolutely stellar. I think, to be honest with you, Ewan, we were both surprised that he was where he was, right? Because we're not used to seeing him there. So to have him down in 16th, we were both shocked at that anyway. We are just about to start the final lap of the race here. McHutchinson there, Barney waving frantically. We are on the final lap now, so in about 44 seconds' time, it's going to be done. And the whole thing's lasted, what, 20 minutes, if that? So, you know, overall, I think this 33
3-lap feature is going to absolutely fly by, but Hutchinson will be on 10th. There will be enough time, but there's enough time at a very, very tricky circuit. So he's got to pick and choose. He's got to get one of them famous John McHutchinson starts, I think, you know, where he hurtles past 4 people, because that's going to do him stellar here as well. But for a minute, he's just about to take the sprint race victory.
Yeah, gaining another 3 points back on his 7-point deficit to Simon Edwards in a neck-and-neck race that's already just almost as if we're continuing straight from last season. It's out of the final corner and on home turf. John McHutchinson wins the first race at Knockhill. Simon Edwards less than a second behind them, and the two of them head and shoulders above the rest of the field. James Child will come in more than a quarter of a minute down, with Seth Brown not so far behind him in the lime green. Then Paul Crabb holding on to a top 5, with Jamie Bird, the biggest mover of the race, up 10 places to 6th.
Yeah, Colin Wynn as well. Big shout out to Colin, does 7th as well here in only his 3rd race back. Absolutely stellar job. Paul Godden comes across the line in 8th with Graham Brown, Gonzaga, G and Taylor behind that. Taylor's got to be kicking himself, doesn't he? Let's be real. He was on the cusp of pole and now he's in 12th.
Yep, he will
Gutted.
be really kicking himself. To be honest, it would have been a tall order for him to get there anyway, to get into 10th place. I think passing Gonzaga is a very difficult task, but he will still be kicking himself about the way he let that one go. John McHutchison certainly didn't let this opportunity pass him, though. He wins ahead of Simon Edwards, with James Child holding off Seth Brown to the end. Paul Crowder held off Jamie Bird to the end, too, for 5th place. Colin Wynn came in 6th ahead of Paul Godden, Graham Brown and George Gonzaga, who will be up towards the front of the second race grid. Damien G and Darryl Taylor just missed out, with Phil Glover classified a lap down there. I didn't see him get lapped, but he must have done. Tim Adcock did as well. Mike Booson with that crash and a trip down pit lane finished 15th. David Beasley a few laps down. Unfortunately, Brawley many laps down after retiring from that race early on. I hope that he will take to the grid for the second race as well. Well, first 20 laps are complete. 33 more coming up. And I think we've seen our answer there, really. In my books anyway, John McHutchison and Simon Edwards will have enough time on their side to get into 1 and 2 again, I would say.
Yeah, I think they will, but it's how they're going to pass. That's the question. It's difficult because the nature of the circuit. So I'll be interested to see what they do, but they have got the likes of Bird is going to be in front of him, and Bird does look quite quick. We've got Gonzaga's on the pole. He's also looking quite speedy tonight. I'm not saying they're as speedy, but they are, you know, speedy that they could pose Simon and John problems. Paul LeMay, great drive from Child and Mr. Wynn. Yeah, absolutely stellar job from both of them as well. And welcome in Ewan Bramer. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be now we've got a 33 lap feature. How's this one going to go then, Mr. O'Leary? What do we reckon?
I think it's going to be more of the same from what we saw in the last race, but maybe just turned up by a notch or two in this swamp, because everybody's going to be jumbled up a little bit off of the start, especially. Hoping everybody gets through cleanly, but not putting any money on that, because we even saw in race 1, there was David Beasley, I think, had to take a trip through the gravel, and see Brawley unfortunately had to retire early on in that race as well. It was difficult on the start. It will be even more so in this second race. But let's have a look and start with that starting grid. George Gonzaga and Graham Brown will be on the front row together, with Paul Godden and Colin Wynn on row 2. Then Jamie Bird, he'll be one to watch from 5th. Paul Crabb as well, although doesn't seem to have gotten to grips quite as much as he maybe would have liked with this circuit. Seth Brown and James Child will be on row 4 ahead of Simon Edwards and John McHutchison, certainly the ones to watch from row 5. Jamie G and Darryl Taylor just missed out on that reverse grid, as I said a moment ago. Phil Glover and Tim Adcock will share row 7. Mike Booson will have a lot of work to do from 15th. He's alongside David Beasley, with Eric Brawley bringing up the rear from 17th. Well, another 33 laps, and once again, John McHutchison making everybody wait just a little bit. Brawley is as well, just on the back of the field, but George Gonzaga is going to be in control of this field as the lights go out. For the second time here at Knockhill, it's race 2, and we are underway. Gonzaga looks like he's got a decent start. In fact, it's Brown who's gone absolutely nowhere. Graham Brown from the front, and already Godden and Wynn have gotten through in towards turn 1. Jamie Bird's gone, and Seth Brown as well. Simon Edwards caught up in it. He'll go down the order. John McHutchison's up to 6th place, but Simon Edwards down to 16th.
Yeah, Simon Edwards there got caught up in the Jamie Bird incident, which was a bit of a shame because we did say Bird was going to be quick here, and this is what happened to him as well. He goes round. I'm wondering if there was an initial contact with Jamie there. We'll try and catch it at the beginning, and no, it's all on his own. Around he goes. Brown goes round as well, and Edwards ends up getting caught up in it and goes round, unfortunately, with Glover there all at the same time. So Seth Brown, Jamie Bird, and Phil Glover and Simon Edwards all caught up at the beginning. Well, that was a start that we was not expecting.
No, absolutely wasn't. And now John McCutcheon is going to begin his charge through the field. Graham Brown to be first, but Paul Crabb's off straight on at turn 1. How has he managed that? Oh, he's in the wall as well. I've no idea how that's happened, but Paul Crabb has dropped outside the top 10 as a result. 4 car battle here for 12th place, by the way, including Bird and Edwards, who weren't expecting to be back here quite so early on. But that's where they find themselves. But there is time to make this up in the race. Edwards now is just going to try and limit the damage because McCutcheon is into 5th place.
Yeah, he definitely is. We've jumped up front now with John McCutcheon who's chasing down Graham Brown. John up 5 places here already. Buson is up 8 places. We said he had work to do. Well, Ewan has gone out and done it, and we're only on lap 3 here, and he's literally sitting in 7th place at the moment as well. Stellar job from him. How far can he go? Well, next up on his list is Darrell Taylor, so that's going to be an exciting one. Tim Adcock, although he's out on track, is having a bit of an horrendous time, unfortunately, at the moment. He's sitting down in 15th with some problems once more here as well. But Graham Brown under attack from McCutcheon.
Yeah, and that has been the case for all throughout the race so far, but McCutcheon has found it a little bit harder to overtake than I was maybe expecting. He'll duck out to the inside now, though, into the final turn, break that little bit later, and John McCutcheon will be up to 4th position right now. Darrell Taylor's making up good positions as well here, actually, and Graham Brown may be under fire from him soon. Mike Boutson has changed, 15th for 7th already. That's 8 positions gained in the opening 3 laps of this race. Very impressive start from him. There are definite winners and losers from that opening lap.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, there is some people who like the likes of Brown down 7, Edwards 4, Bird 7, Crabb 5. Even Graham Brown sitting in 5th is down 3 places. McCutcheon 6, Taylor 6, and Buson 8. Incredible. And let's give a shout to David Beasley, of course, who was obviously had his offs in the first race, and he's now basically up 7 places into 9th from 16th. So an incredible drive from David Beasley here as well. Paul Crabb has just lost a place to Jamie Bird, however, no he hasn't.
No, not quite. Paul Crabb stays ahead of Jamie Bird and Simon Edwards for now after that bizarre incident into turn 1. I believe saw him in the wall eventually. Bird down the inside now, though, at the very corner he span in the opening lap of this race. Wasn't able to make a move and start regaining some of those places at the very same corner, though. This time, Edwards gets very close, and all 4 of these drivers, in fact, very, very fast. And you would argue have the pace to be well inside the top 10. Simon Edwards believes so as well. He's down the inside of Jamie Bird into turn 6, and that is the move for 12th place.
Yeah, Edwards up the inside there, job done over Bird. He's now chasing down Crabb. Brown as well behind him. Don't forget, we've got very quick drivers here. Crabb, Edwards, Bird and Brown. They all done a stellar job in the first race and is now unfortunately battling it out all on track at the same time. Further up, of course, we've got Taylor, Buson and Brown. Graham Brown this time, not Seth Brown. We've got both the Browns on the track tonight. This is going to be an interesting one. But they're battling it out all at the same time with the likes of McCutcheon, who has passed Wynne and is chasing down Paul Goddard. So he is absolutely flying. But I think Darrell Taylor as well was just making a move past Colin Wynne. He has done. So another great move for him as well. And Darrell Taylor moves up into 5th. It was Graham Brown who was actually going past there. Sorry as well. And Buson just about to try and go up the inside. Gets left room. Can he get the exit speed? That's going to be the question.
And it's a pretty good exit, even despite being on the inside, although Graham Brown will have the slipstream of Darrell Taylor and the presence behind him of James Child as well, which does help. And he's going to retain that position into turn 1 as well. Not quite. A positional change then. On that occasion, Bird's off again at the very same corner, and Edwards has been caught up again. It's almost like a replay at turn 1, as they're both off the road at turn 2 now. Let's see what happened here. This one may be a bit more sinister. With Edwards on the inside, was there contact here? Yes, there was, and Edwards was nowhere near the apex there, in my opinion. And unfortunately, he was an innocent bystander in the opening lap, but I don't think he was an innocent bystander in that one.
No, I think that was a little bit more of, I want room, please give me room, and Jamie Bird was like, no, sorry sir, not this time around. So unfortunately for Edwards, he's now down in 13th. He's just gone past Adcock, and Bird again is going to do the same thing and go past Adcock as well. So it is going to be Bird and Edwards going for it once more. David Beasley, James Child and Brown still battling it out, and Paul Godden has lost that place to the Scotsman that is McCutcheon, and he's now setting after George Gonzaga. So McCutcheon up 8 places, and he's still got, 25 laps to go.
Yeah, he might well be up 9 by the time we even get to the halfway point in this race. But George Gonzaga's fast as well. We saw that in qualifying. He'll do well to hold on here, though, for the remainder of the race. Still a long way to go. Battle for 7th place is becoming quite populated right now. Paul Crabb has joined this group, and it's James Charles at the front of it, having just gotten through on Graham Brown in the field. They'll go downhill now. Oh, that's a bit of a jump over the curbs. Braking zone at turn 3. And then the dip down and the climb again uphill through the chicane. A little bit wide from Child. That sends Brown a bit wide. And David Beasley will try and take advantage. Timmy G got it wrong in the background as well. And Seth Brown has gotten up to 11th as a result of that.
Yeah, G got it all wrong going through the chicane, bounced out into the gravel, which is where we said you don't want to go, and he did go there. So David Beasley's defending the outside. Paul Crabb said, well, all right, you go for there. Oh, got his nose cut off there around the turn 9, and off they go again once down into the start-finish line. Paul Godden and Colin Wynne having a nice little battle for 3rd place here. Can Godden hold on from the ever-improving Colin Wynne this evening?
Well, it'd be impressive, and there's still a long way to go to manage that, but there's been some real impressive drives up and down the field so far here. We're on board with Colin Wynne at the moment. I think Errol Taylor got a good run out of 6th there, and he's getting very, very close now in the rearview mirror. Wouldn't be surprised if he's down the inside, actually. No, he's not actually on that occasion. Phil Glover, by the way, was the car that was just parked up on the right-hand side there around turn 7. No idea what he's doing. Where is he? I can't even...
He's on the run up into 9.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. I didn't even recognise that, the racetrack there. I think he's just letting everyone through more than anything after pitting earlier on, maybe.
Yeah, that's what he did first. And then he heats the tyres and does that, unfortunately, for Mr. Glover. So, all in all, yeah, not a good second race for him, to be fair, but Colin Wynne still battling out with Paul Godden, and Darrell Taylor still behind him. So there we go. McCutcheon is looming on Gonzaga. It's now down to pretty much less than a second very, very shortly.
And that's the 3rd distance mark in this race already, with less than 10 minutes gone and far too many minutes remaining as far as Judge Gonzaga is concerned, because he's only got a second to John McCutcheon, who is clearly quicker and clearly wants that position as well. Battle for 3rd is still a decent one between Godden, Wynne and Taylor, although Mike Boosson will do his best to catch up, and it's all going on in that group for 8th place as well. Seth Brown and Graham Brown are right together at the moment. It's Seth in front of Graham. You can tell Seth's livery very easily from space, because it's this shade of green, and Graham Brown's car is not that shade of green, which is very good news for us. But they've reversed positions. Graham Brown now starting to slip through the field, really, which you would expect when you start towards the front. But John McCutcheon certainly not sliding down the field anywhere. He's now on the back of George Gonzaga, who's going to give him a bit of a fight here.
Yeah, I'm hoping Gonzaga does. I'm not going to lie. I'm hoping he does give him a fight. You know, if he positions his car in the right way here, there is a good chance that he could hold this on. But he's got to be on the defensive straight away. He can't just hang out and wait to see what McCutcheon does. He needs to lead McCutcheon where he wants him. So from Gonzaga's point of view, if McCutcheon gets close coming into the hairpin at 9, which he's not going to, but what he will do is look at getting close on the exit of 9 to get that run out. Now, if I was Gonzaga, I'd be looking at trying to stay as long as I could and making my one move after the line, and either could take in the right-hand side if he feels he wants to, or stay where you are and hope that McHutchison doesn't dive. But if he positions his car right here, this could be very frustrating for the Scotsman we're on board with. I'm not going to lie, because it's not going to take much for Gonzaga to stop him, just purely because of the nature of the circuit. So it's all about what Gonzaga does with the car to be able to stop McHutchison. He's leading the race. He's in his right to fight for the position, but he's got to do it correctly. He can't give him too much time.
And here we go. McHutchison is very close to Gonzaga now into the final corner. Oh, he brakes a bit early, in fact. Gonzaga diving deep on the brakes there and deep enough to hold on to this lead as well, which is very good news for him. He'll go over the line one more time, and at the end there's still 19 to go here at Knockhill. A very, very long way as far as Gonzaga is concerned, defending and holding on to this lead. It's a good effort for now, but you do wonder how long this will last for.
Yeah, as I say, I'm hoping it lasts for a while. I'm hoping Gonzaga gives him a go. He's got a good speed out of the exit out of 5 and 6 before he goes through 7 of Clark. So he's just got to put his car now to the right-hand side. Go to the right. Don't leave it open. You're going to leave him open. You're going to be robbed. He's going to rob you. Absolutely burgled. You cannot do that. He got in deep. Oh. He's got the option of the cutback. Is he going to make the most of it down into turn 1?
Well, that was his plan all along, it seems. I didn't think he was... I think he was just... well, it looked like, anyway, to me, he was just rolling over there and letting him have that lead, but absolutely not a bit of it. John McHutchison briefly in front, back to second again. Darrell Taylor, meanwhile, is trying to get on the podium. He's through on Wynn. He's now trying to go through on Godden, and he has done. Mike Boosson joins the party, but immediately leaves it again. Clearly not pleased with what he's seen, and he's gone. He's now down in 6th place, or he stays in 6th place at least. He's more than a second back and took a strange line up the chicane there. Wonder if he's got damage even.
Yeah, it doesn't look healthy. Not going to lie, that car is not looking good for Bousson. Currently at the moment, he pulls to the right-hand side. He's got no speed. Chard's going to be on our left very shortly. There he is. Bousson defends the inside line, but he's got to give that car a minute to settle down. Gonzaga... Oh. No, you did not roll over. Go on.
Oh, here he goes. It was into the final corner where he initially got the move. John McHutchison. Now Gonzaga is still with him, and he has to strike while he can. We're at the half-distance mark in this race now, but John McHutchison's got the chance to run away, and if he's allowed the clean air, then he will be able to run away. Gonzaga's got to stay in his wheel tracks and try and get through again on him as quickly as possible, but it doesn't look like it's happening for him at the moment.
No. I'm going to have a look and see how the early part of that pass went, because I'm hoping Gonzaga didn't roll over, but God blimey, does it look like he did on the straight. He didn't defend the inside. Allows him through at 9, and that was it. He didn't defend that inside line, which is what we said. If we watch it further on, he has a chance coming down the hill, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does have a chance into turn 1, didn't go for it in the end and didn't quite get the run off the final corner that he needed to, but indeed forces John McHutchison into a bit of a mistake here. Got side by side again, got a bit of a cutback again, but there's really no room for a move through 4 or 5, so that's not going to happen. Oh, sorry, this is Boosson. Thought that was on board with McHutchison lapping cars, but it's Boosson trying to get in front of James Child for 6th place at the moment. And it's not going to happen for him based on the damage we saw earlier, but all of a sudden his car seems fine now. I don't know what's going on with Mike Boosson at the moment, but he's down the inside now, and he is back to 6th place again.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe he had a bizarre moment in the car, I'm not entirely sure, but either way, he lost a bunch of time to Child, and now he's got it back, which... I'm not sure what happened to the man from Froome in Somerset, to be honest. I don't really know. Damien G battling out with Graham Brown. He's just about to make a move on the inside. Job done for him. Well, it should be. No, they're running side by side.
Yeah, G briefly alongside, and Brown holding on as well. So he stays in 12th for now. Simon Edwards gets very close to Jamie Bird as well, and the run up to 6th, I think that was, and he's through as well into the top 10 with his championship rival John McHutchison leading this race. Mike Bootson's off at the hairpin. What's happened to Mike Boosson? He's down in the pit lane now as well. A big shame for him, and how has he managed it? He's on his own. We saw him go off at the hairpin, by the way, in qualifying under suspicious circumstances, and again,
well, like that,
too late, just straight on into the barrier.
Yeah, he literally did exactly the same thing, practically. Edwards and Bird are battling it out here for 9th and 10th at the moment. Bird's still ahead of Edwards, but we know Bird had pace, so there's no real surprise that he's holding on. He's just got to manage to hold on for a little bit longer, which I don't think he's going to do. Edwards is just about to run up the inside of 7. Job done.
Job done. And into 9th he goes. More than 5 seconds, though, to catch up to Paul Crabb and Seth Brown, who are battling for that 7th place now. To the final corner. Edwards will hold on to that position for the moment. But it's looking good here for Edwards. He has to defend again, actually, in towards turn 1. Maybe not looking so good. Bird on the outside all over again. And thankfully, this time they get through without contact. Paul Crabb was off at some point on that last lap. I think he just took a trip through the grass maybe at turn 1, and he's lost that place to Seth Brown as well in that battle for 7th place that Edwards will really try to catch up to, but I'm not sure he's going to manage it.
No, he's only got, 11 laps left? And they're all very similar. Crabb's doing 45s. Edward is doing 44s, mind you. He's doing 44.6s. Last time out was a 46.4, but he was battling with Bird there, mind you. And Paul Crabb did a 45.4. So Crabb was a second quicker, but obviously Edwards was battling away with Jamie Bird. He's now cleared Jamie Bird, so it'll be interesting to see what the next lap time is here as well. Mr. Wynn still having to go with Paul Godden for 4th place. Darrell Taylor, we're going to mention Darrell Taylor. Why is Phil Glover still sat there?
He's just letting people through, to be honest. Doesn't want to get in everyone's way, but he's not going to find a bit of free track space to go out again if he tends to do that.
No, I'm a little bit confused. Why he doesn't just exit back to the pits if he hasn't got any plans to go anywhere? Unless he's got a problem with his equipment, of course.
He might. Let's see.
Pull him in.
He's going again now, I think, isn't he?
I don't know.
There's a space there. Yeah, he's back again. So he's just trying not to get in anyone's way, really. But wants to continue lapping in case anybody else retires from this race in the next 5 laps or so, because then they might be able to catch them up and gain another place. But I don't think he's going to catch anyone on merit at the moment. Adcock is a lap down on the next driver, and Glover 3/4 of a minute down on him. So it's very, very spaced out down at the back. It's not very spaced out up the front, though. I mean, there's a gap between the front 2 and the rest again, as we saw in the sprint race. But, we're well past the sprint race distance mark now, and we've still got a very close field other than maybe that front 2.
Yeah, the front 2 are flying along at the moment. They're probably, about 11, maybe 12 seconds away from Godden. Currently sitting in, Taylor currently sitting in 3rd is, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seconds. So they've got a bit of a gap here as well. The leader, John, is just about to come round and lap Phil Glover. So it'd be interesting to see how Glover handles this one. I'm probably suggesting just pulling over and parking it there. Yeah, that's what he does. And he allows McHutchison through, so if anybody's watching on how to let a leader through, that's how you do it. Seth Brown has got Paul Crabb for company now. These guys are below half a second as they head round up through turn 8 into turn 9.
Yep, it's 2 very, very quick drivers indeed, maybe out of position, but their pace at the moment is no quicker than those in front of them. It's going to be a famous podium for one of those drivers, either Taylor, Godden or Wynn, I think. Going to get a rare podium. Don't see any of those on the podium very often. We've seen Darrell Taylor once or twice, but I don't think Paul Godden's ever been on there.
No.
And I can't remember the last time Colin Wynn was on a podium either, if that's happened in the recent past. So it'd be a great story for one of those guys to manage it. And at the moment, it's going the way of Darrell Taylor, with some of the more recognisable faces at the front of the field, like the likes of Brown and Crabb and Edwards here. They're mired down in the pack. They're a long way back. And with the remaining laps, I can't see them catching.
No, we're going to see how this one works out. I'm trying to work out what they've got from Paul Godden down to Simon Edwards. He's got about 10 seconds from Godden to Edwards, so it's a long way for Edwards to try and recover. And as I say, we've got 7 laps, which is literally less than 7 minutes. It's like 5 minutes, I think. So, within the next 5 minutes, is Edwards going to be able to catch these guys? Probably not. But as we've seen with multiple times where things happen and people go off, it's not an end of the world. It's not an endless possibility. There is a possibility there as well. As Crabb is still fighting away with Brown, Edwards is only a second back. So this is going to be an interesting freeway with obviously Simon Edwards coming through here as well. So yeah, there we go. It's going to get interesting over the next, 6 laps to go.
It is going to be an exciting finale to this one. I think Edwards has got the chance for a few more points here as well that he'll dearly need. Only actually 2 points though. It's only a point in position back here because he's so far down. And at the moment, he would be losing a whopping 18 points to McCutcheon, and added to his 3 in the first race, he would lose his championship lead, and he'd have a deficit of 14 points. But I would argue, if there's any driver in the field who can come back from a championship deficit, it is Simon Edwards. And generally, in the first 3 rounds of the season, he does have a bad round, or a slightly, I don't want to say bad round even, a slightly below average round, because he's remarkably consistent. He's always at the front, but he does often have this one round at the start of the season where he's a little bit below par. And then for the rest of the season, he'll be absolutely on it. That's what usually happens anyway. Yeah, it definitely does. But he's getting used to the new car. For the last 2 seasons, obviously the SR8, now the SR10. You know, he had opinions on both of them. We know what Simon Edwards' opinions was on both of them cars. But at the end of the day, it's now he's got to try and get used to these cars. And he's back in the SR10. He should be getting used to it. I think, you know, driving it before. And so I'm not sure if he entirely drives officials. Maybe Edwards doesn't. But at the end of the day, he's got to be looking at now building on what he's going to be able to do. We're only on round 3. He's got a long way to go. You know, they've still got a good few rounds to go here, 9 rounds left, so he's got the opportunity to recover, and if anyone could do it, I wouldn't count Edwards out of doing it, to be honest. No, I certainly wouldn't, and we are seeing more and more with every week that goes by, and we've only had 3 so far, but it's looking like a 2-horse race this season between 2 greats of this championship. John McCutcheon, who has the longest distance between 2 championships in the Radical Race Series, by the way, with a whole calendar year between his 2 titles, and Simon Edwards, who has the most titles in Radical Race Series history. We might have Luke Maxwell to add into that, but he's not here once again this evening. Scored 53 points in his only round so far this season, so he could have a charge with the 3 drop rounds. Meanwhile, inside line for Simon Edwards over one of his championship rivals of previous seasons, Paul Crabb. He's made it through though as Edwards, and in towards the final corner. It looks like he's going to cement this position. He's got the inside line and he has the place, and he does enough to block Crabb from getting his run on the exit as well. Yeah, it looked like he almost parked it in the hairpin and said, no, okay, I'm going to park you up and then I'm going to get on the gas and you're going to be able to try and get through. You're not going to manage it. However, Godden, Wynne and Child are getting close together. Child is closing up onto the back end of Wynne here once more, and Wynne is going to try and basically hold him and see if he's able to. Godden has got a slowdown, I would presume, at that moment of the circuit. That's very surprising. Either that or he made a mistake of 7 and he's now behind Child and Colin Wynne, so he's lost 2 places. So I'd probably say he's not far off what we said. It could have been a slowdown, but I think it was just a bad run, to be honest. I think this group was quite close anyway, and if you get a bit of a slide on, then you'll find yourself, there you go, he's in the gravel and just recovering from that. I don't think it was enough for a slowdown there. Plus he didn't gain any time from going off the track, I guess, either. So I know that's not how iRacing works, but no. But you'd hope that he wouldn't have got a slowdown from that, because he did actually cost himself time anyway. Out through turn 6 again for Paul Godden, and he's got a great view of James Charles' attempted move on Colin Wynne now. If it will indeed be an attempted one, it won't. Into the final corner. They go on to the penultimate lap though. There's not long left in this race now. No, definitely. We've got one and one more, and then it's game over. McCutcheon is out in front now by nearly 8.5 seconds here. Gonzaga didn't manage to stay with him. As I say, it would have been taking an absolute defensive mission from George Gonzaga to hold on. So, you know, it's no surprise, really. McCutcheon was quick in the sprint. He's quick in the feature, and Gonzaga didn't have any answers. But from Gonzaga's point of view, he's holding on to the fact that Darrell Taylor is 9.5 seconds back from him, and he's got a 3-second gap over Colin Wynne and James Child, who is this battle here as well. So from Darrell Taylor's point of view, he's just about to go around the hairpin. There he is in his Skittles livery. He's doing well as well, but it is the final lap. Colin Wynne just went wide at the final corner. He might even pay with it with his top 5 place as well. Paul Godden's going to pull up alongside him right now over the line. This is the final lap, by the way. Godden's down the inside. Oh, that was close. Wynn slammed the door in his face, said you're not coming through by any means. Meanwhile, John McCutcheon makes his way into the final corner, and he's going to win both races on home turf. It's race 2 victory at Knockhill to John McCutcheon, who takes the championship lead with it as well. It's more than 10 seconds over George Gonzaga at the end, and he sets the fastest lap on the last lap to go with it as well.
Yeah, stellar job from him. Taylor's going to come across the line and take third place here. Absolutely stellar job from Darrell Taylor. He's going to be absolutely loving that. James Child, Colin Wynn and Paul Godden are going to be coming across the line almost together. And then Simon Edwards did get ahead of Brown and Crabb. And Edwards comes over in 7th place with everybody else behind him. It's just Damien G who is also just about to finish off now as well. So there we go. Everybody is done and dusted. And here are the results.
Let's have a look then. It's nothing different to see on the winner, as you might expect. It's Simon Edwards. Goodness me, that was a force of habit. John McCutcheon winning the race ahead of George Gonzaga. Darrell Taylor joining him for a podium as well, holding off the likes of James Child, Colin Wynn and Paul Godden. Colin Reid. 7th place to Simon Edwards. He held off Seth Brown, Paul Crabb and Jamie Bird to the line with Damien G, the final driver, on the lead lap. David Beasley was 12th ahead of Graham Brown, also 1 lap down. Tim Adcock, couple of laps down. Phil Glover, 4 down. Mike Bousson retiring from that race about halfway through. Eric Brawley never starting that second race, unfortunately. Well, very interesting day at Knockhill, I've got to say. Interesting experiment. I'm not sure how many drivers will want to come back, but John McCutcheon certainly will, because he's taken the full 65 points away from the round.
I think deep down they will love that. Like, I've just got this funny feeling deep down the drivers will absolutely love going to a circuit like Knockhill. And I'll be waiting for the information after and have a read of the chat and stuff like that. But I've got a funny feeling they will absolutely enjoy that as well. I do like Woody there in YouTube. Is John the Scottish Max Verstappen? He gone. And then Paul LeMay, wow. Mr. Taylor, cracking job. Yeah, it was absolutely cracking there as well. So, yeah, incredible drive from most of these drivers, but obviously the Scotsman out in front flew, gone, different country. He was already on next week's, I think. He was absolutely amazing. So yeah, cracking job from John. Incredible.
Yeah, made the trip down to Alton Park up in the northwest. Let's bring in, since he's been waiting there the entire time, we chat to him every week. Let's bring him in first this week, because also the only one ready for us. Phil Glover joining us now. Unfortunate second race for you, Phil, but how did you find the Knockhill experiment here this evening? I guess we can call it an experiment, a different circuit. I don't know if I've ever seen it in the Radical Race Series, or I don't know if you have either. How did you find it this evening?
I haven't. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it at all, to be honest. $14, I'll never get back in my life, to be honest. But I should have done what we were talking about last week, which was take a little bit more dirt in. I would have done a lot better cutting the track and, you know, taking it over the hills and things, to be honest.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time parked up on the grass because I got to the point where I thought, I'm not sure when I can pull back on the track because there's so many people coming past. So, yeah, it was a bit of a waste of time, to be honest.
Well, it's, the first time we've seen it. And to be honest, these cars are not easy around this kind of circuit with the amount of bumps and rises and falls. I can't imagine it's very, very comfortable, certainly, in these types of cars. Looking ahead to the rest of the schedule here, Phil, we've got some sort of very similar sort of tracks coming up, if you include this one, along with the likes of Alton Park and Laguna Seca and Jerez as well. All very twisty tracks that mean you can't really, maybe overtake as easy as you'd like on occasion or whatever it is. What are your thoughts heading forward into Alton Park in 1 week's time?
Well, Alton Park's a fantastic track, isn't it? I love driving Alton. Not saying I do particularly well on it, but it's a great track. I don't mind the twisty ones. A Canadian, whatever that one's called, I'm not bad at that one. That can be a little bit twisty, can't it? With plenty of hill changes, etc. So, where are you next week? Because it's my daughter's wedding next week, so next Thursday. So I won't be driving next week. But where is it?
Okay, it is at Oulton Park, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. I hope you'll be here for the final round. That'll be Mosport, the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park,
Yeah,
as you were saying there.
I
So
do like that.
hopefully you'll be
I
there
usually
for
did
that
quite
one.
well there. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to. Hopefully you'll be there for that. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Phil, before we let you go?
I really should shout out to my daughter India and her future husband Matt. So we'll look forward to welcoming him into the family.
Absolutely. Congratulations to them. Phil, congratulations on this evening. If you ever want to see this circuit again,
I'm not sure it was congratulations.
well, it's just a habit, really. I don't know. But thanks very much for chatting to us, Phil, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. See you later. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Thanks very much, Phil Glover, joining us there, as he always does. And now the podium drivers are all here from the second race, and double race winner John McCutcheon's here as well to chat with us. Paul Godden as well. We'll chat with John McCutcheon because he did win 2 races. So we'll bring him in. John, welcome in on home turf here this evening, and it certainly served you well. You seem to get a real good grip of this circuit where others maybe didn't. Is it a case of you've got more practice around this circuit than everybody else just anyway, or did you have a good handle on it, even just getting to grips with it this week? What was the story there?
Well, in real life, I've drove around here a few times, so I've got a couple of 100 laps in me. So maybe that helped. That's the first time we've raced here in Radical, or any sim, actually, I've raced here. But let's say I knew the track anyway, so it was good fun.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it. And you were chasing down George at the end there to take the race win away from him in the second race, but it didn't look too difficult for you in the end, just a case of keeping the laps going. How did you find the opening lap, though, of that second race? Because the first race, obviously, you and Simon got away, but you were in the mid-pack for the second race.
I had to apologise at the end of it. It looked like I touched Seth and spun Seth round. So it looked like it was all my fault. So I apologise for that to all the guys involved in it. But, it's lap 1, turn 1. Incidents happen. It's happened to me umpteen times and it'll happen again. So,
especially here, actually, because even in race 1, when the grid wasn't jumbled, there was a bit of a incident at the back, and so we can only expect the same when the grid's jumbled up. Before we let you go, John, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Shout out to you guys for the commentary. It's always good to watch back.
Well, thanks very much. I hope you'll enjoy watching this one back since you've won twice. I can imagine it'd be enjoyable no matter what we're saying. So anyway, congratulations, John, on a couple of wins tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Thanks very much. John McCutcheon there, race winner in both of the rounds. He took George Gonzaga towards the end of the second one to take the win. George, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Couldn't quite hold on to the win there ahead of John. Just tell us a little bit about that fight and your defending, where John was applying all that pressure towards you in the middle of that race.
Yeah, I was hoping John would get held up a bit more on the back, but no, I didn't stand a chance. But in my head, I was imagining James So I decided to put up a fight, but it was really fun. Yeah.
I'm glad you did put up a fight there, George. I'll tell you what, because if you rolled over, mate, the next time I saw you, I wouldn't have been impressed, because I was sitting here with you and saying, please, George, fight. And you should have had the inside line going into 9, mate. You should have had the inside line.
Well, that's the thing. I could have had a podium finish, and if I would have pushed, he would be on my neck, and we would end up doing a mistake. So, but I tried to put up a fight a bit, a bit of a show, but it got to a point like he was too fast, and yeah. But it was really fun. This track is amazing. Like, really, congrats to Daryl and the league to selecting it. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, it was certainly a different choice around here. Have you ever raced around here before? Did you have to buy it this week to actually participate this week?
No, funny enough, actually, this was one of the first tracks that I tried in iRacing on a Porsche. But I haven't driven it in like a year or two, so I had to do a bit of refresh. And I was really lucky with the setup. I just bump up the height of the car to the maximum, and it worked, and I was surprised. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm on top 3 on the practice." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll stick to it." Yeah, but it was really good. Yeah.
I can imagine you would have to bump up the height, to be honest, to get round here. It's very, very bumpy indeed. George, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go here this evening?
No, to all the league, to you guys, the usual. I missed the last 2 races, so I really wanted to come back today. And but yeah, just a shout out to you guys. And again, James in my head saying, "Fight, George, fight, George."
Hey, you got mini me in your head. That's fine. I'll take that one, George.
Yeah. No, but it was good. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. It was a really good race. Yeah.
Thanks very much, George. Second place in race 2 here this evening at Knockhill, and hopefully we'll see you a little bit more over the course of the season as well. But there we are. George Gonzaga for second place. Here today in the second race at Knockhill. He just finished ahead of Daryl Taylor, who we can also bring in now. Daryl, welcome in. Podium for you in the second race there, but you certainly had to work hard for it. Tell us about those battles towards the end of the race, especially.
Hello. Yeah, cool. Podium for me. That's a bit rare. Normally I crash. We were just saying in the chat. I think it's just took advantage of people making mistakes. So it was just about keeping it clean, I think, really this week. And then once I got to that P3, it was don't make mistakes. Don't make mistakes. Nearly did on the last lap, losing concentration, but yeah, no, it's good. Impressed with that, and that was less carnage than I thought it would be overall.
Oh yeah, what was the general consensus from drivers in terms of? Because obviously I've seen the Discord chat itself and whatever, but there wasn't too much discussion about it being absolute carnage. But what were the drivers' actual feelings going into falls, and maybe yours specifically as well, which you'll be able to speak on a little bit more? Was it a case of people thinking I might have to just survive a lot of carnage tonight, or what was the kind of consensus?
Yeah, I think it was going to be one way or the other. So it was either going to be really good or really bad, and I think it turned out all right. I think just everybody, I think the skill of the drivers in this league, right? That's what's got us through it. So we'd not done any running, we'd not done any practice runs together, so no idea what it was going to be like, but it's good.
Yeah, it was certainly good racing to watch as well. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Darryl, before we let you go?
Just everybody in the league, all the drivers, they're the folks that make it, so good entertainment.
Certainly is. We've enjoyed covering it here tonight. Darryl, thanks very much for coming to chat to us, and congrats on P3 tonight.
All right, thank you. Cheers then.
Thanks very much, Daryl Taylor there, third place in race 2 here at Knockhill, and not far in front of Paul Godden, who now joins us as well. Paul, welcome in. Very, very close to a podium, which I believe would have been your first in the Radical Race Series, if I'm not mistaken. How did you find Knockhill and the challenges it threw up, especially in race 2 here this evening?
Yeah, it's another great evening racing in the Radicals. Gutted to not get a podium, but like I said before, it's not really where I was aiming for in that race. I just didn't think I really had the very last bit of pace to stay there. But when I was in second place, going quite comfortably, I thought, just keep going, be fine. And then unfortunately, I missed a gear coming up the hill when Daryl come past us. And he went, and that was it. Once he was gone, that was the podium, out of sight, unfortunately. And then had a great race with Colin and then James towards the end. And then one tiny little mistake, and both of them popped past. So it was just trying to keep clean and enjoy it, really. And it was another great evening.
We did see that little slip wide from you actually at turn 6. You didn't get a slowdown for it, did you? It was just a trip through the gravel.
No, I saw the car on the inside and thought, I better take a slightly different line through there. And as I've done it, I went up into fourth gear, and then I thought I've got to come down 2 to get to it, and I just couldn't get the car turned in, ran wide. Luckily, didn't get a slowdown, but I was like, I'm not going to floor it on the gravel, because when I've done that in practice, I pinned it into the wall. So I was like, I've got to just keep it calm, let them go, and then try and catch them back up. But yeah, they both had some really good pace tonight, and I just couldn't keep them up with them, unfortunately. But overall, is a good result. 6th in some good points in the first race, and 6th in that race is a good result. And I beat the competitors that I aim to beat each week. So yeah, I can't really complain.
Absolutely not. Still a very good result indeed. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to here, Paul, before we let you go?
Yeah, as always, I'd like to shout out to yourself and James for doing the broadcast. It's always really enjoyable to watch back the day after. The organisers for picking some great tracks this year, and also for just making the race series so great, and all the drivers, because tonight it could have been very carnage, but all the drivers gave everyone a lot of respect, and they respected the track as well. And where you could have chucked it up the inside and just had a little tap with someone, a lot of drivers just backed off and kept it clean, and that's what it's all about. It's just keeping clean, good, hard racing, and we've really got that in this series now.
Certainly do. Paul, congratulations on a successful evening for yourself, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Paul Gordon there, up there in the second race, very nearly getting onto that podium here at Knockhill. But that just about does it here for this evening's racing. 3 rounds of the Radical Race Series done already. It's, we're already a quarter of a way through the season, would you believe it? 6 races complete, still another 18 to go, though. A long, long way indeed. John McCutcheon with 2 race wins here tonight, James, and a very successful evening for him. Championship lead as well. And he can be very pleased with this round that he will have been looking forward to all week, I've no doubt.
He did say as well he drives around there in real life, right? So that gives him that experience anyway of Knockhill in general. So there's no surprise he's won. He's driving around there in real life, did an absolutely stellar job. Not going to lie, absolutely flying. I can see him doing a back-to-back championship. The way he's driving, absolutely incredible. So good luck to everybody there as well. But an absolutely stellar race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was absolutely really good. I think we should do more short circuits, to be honest, in the Radical. Tsukuba GP, just saying. Putting it out there.
Not that short circuit there. I was going to agree with you.
I don't think it's going to be any different. I'd be way interested to see the lap times at Tsukuba, and then interested to see what this is.
Yeah, but it might not be too different. But I think the interest level will be different, and the excitement level. But anyway, no, it's been a good evening of racing here at Knockhill, and next week, of course, we'll be heading to Alton Park. If you remember, 2 seasons ago, it was the 3rd last round of our championship, and it was one of the best couple of races we've ever seen in this championship. Real great drama towards the end of that famous title race in season 1 of 2023. But that just about does it here this evening for us. Make sure you subscribe to the JP YouTube channel. There's a lot more racing coming up every single night, pretty much. So you can get your teeth into that and watch a load of previous broadcasts as well that will all be there for you. But thanks very much for joining us here this evening. It's been a pleasure to be along once again. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt here this evening. And until we see you in 1 week's time at Alton Park, it's goodbye for now.